you are live, I need to.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome everybody to August 24th, the County Facilities Committee meeting. Can I start off this morning getting approval for the prior minutes? Supervisor Stroud, Supervisor Bruno, thank you very much. I'll call a vote. All in favor? Opposed? One abstention. So, okay. That was Supervisor Wild. So, okay, so we'll move right on. We're going to start off this morning with building to grounds agenda. So for the action for new business, we have the generator swap out and to fund the cable needed for the new generator and the other supplies and that we needed. Would that be, Kevin, would you like to follow through on that, or want Scott?
Sure. No, I'll follow through on it. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. Good morning to all. Sorry I'm not there. I'm in beautiful downtown Rochester for the summer conference. So I think I'd rather be there. So anyways, to get started on this, the first one is we had put money aside last year for the generator. I think it was about $118,000, give or take. We purchased the generator for somewhere about $96,000 with the transfer switch. We also had to buy new wire, which was almost $13,000, which was less than what we were going to get it if we got it through our contractor. And then we had to have our contractor come in and do some work as well, which is about $15,000. And we still needed more money for National Grid. They wanted us to pay them for doing the shutdown. So all said and done, we didn't have enough to cover everything in the project. So this is just to move some funds to fund the cable that was needed, or the wire that was needed for the project.
We got a motion to move by Supervisor Stroud. We got a second by Supervisor. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just maybe 1 and 2 together. Seems like they're both related to the cable.
Okay. Without objections, I'd like to put 1 and 2 together. Or do I have a?
I'm agreeable to that.
Okay, so we're all agreed. So we're going to move 1 and 2 together. One of the questions I had, I've done a lot of disconnect reconnects there for services and that, and the National Grid hitting us up so high for that. What did they do? Have a 12-man crew standing around waiting for it to go back online, or?
You would think they would have, but the problem is they had to do it on the weekend, and calling them out to come out on the weekend, they charge you for it. And believe it or not, the estimate that we received, which Scott, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they did charge for, even if they had a truck in Glens Falls, I think they charged for a truck to come out of Syracuse. They just, there's no way around it. They kind of got us that we're going to call them out on a weekend to do a shutdown, so we wouldn't do it during the work week when individuals are working. And so there's a charge associated with it.
No problem there. I mean, I understand on the weekend. I thought it was going on a Friday, but I guess they were just pulling the old one out, putting the new one on with the crane. But no, I was just a little curious. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So can I? Well, 1 and 2 together. Did I call the vote?
No.
All right, so I'll call the vote. All in favor for the generator swap out and the transfer of funds.
Aye.
I got an aye. So unapproved. Okay, so it passes.
Motion carried.
All right. We got a notice, an intent to fill a position, and you're not going to believe this all, but it's for cleaner number 6. So how are we doing on that one?
We have an intent, notice to intent to fill position cleaner number 6, as well as cleaner number 12. Looking to fill, we've got a few applications in for that. They are both due to resignations from the employees.
All in favor of putting 3 and 4 together?
I'll make that motion to approve 3 and 4.
Second.
Okay, so call a vote on that.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Motion carried.
Approved. Motion carried. And that is for cleaner 6 and 12 together. So the next one we have is notice to intent and fill building maintenance worker number 2.
Yep, that is building maintenance number 2. It's a grade 7. It is due to a resignation. The person went to work for Queensbury School District. So I'm looking to fill that position as well.
Do I have bring this to the floor? Supervisor Wild, Supervisor Bruno, thank you. It seems that we have lost a few employees to the Queensbury School.
Yep, apparently the story is the Queensbury School District did a reallocation of their positions. They were considered one of the top paying school districts in the area and then went down to the least paying, but now they've reallocated funds to become one of the higher paying school districts in the area. So this gentleman actually worked there, came to work here at the county, and now is since going back there for more money as well as unlimited overtime due to the fact that they can't hire anyone as well.
Well, you can't blame anyone for wanting to do better. So, all right, thank you. So can I call a vote on that? All in favor? Aye. So carried. Okay, court update. Oh, Kevin, did you have something you wanted to say?
I just, again, I wanted to touch on, which I guess you're probably getting sick and tired of listening to me say it. I'm a broken record at this point is, the bottom line is I know we just renegotiated the union contract, or it was just renegotiated, but the surveys that were done around Washington County and the survey, that we kind of did in-house in Warren County, the county is not, one of the employers that pays the most amount of money in the area. That's why I lose people to, say, the school or to other towns. And I think this will continue to happen. If, as Scott said, he can, our building maintenance worker could go to Queensbury schools and he can make, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 more a year and get unlimited overtime. So it's tough for me to attract people, here at the county. We try to sell with the benefits, whatever else, but it seems to be not enough.
I understand. And thank you, Kevin. And this is something I think I'll speak with, well, we are coming into budget time and whatever we have to do, I'll talk to I think our administrator to get his feel on it. Am I able to ask that now there, Mr. Moore?
Sure. What's your question, sir?
My question would be, we seem to every month have a cleaner problem, and we just went through negotiations and that with the union that, but trying to entice cleaners to stay, when we seem to really only, we really only seem to have them, it seems like a couple of weeks, if not more than a month and a half, and they seem to find a better job. So,
Well, can I speak to that a little bit?
please.
Okay, cleaner position currently is still making less than $15 an hour, and that's for second shift. Right now, they're going out there and getting anywhere upwards $15 north of that, up to $16, $17 just for cleaner positions. Yes, the benefits have always been a draw, but it seems like today's day and age, they want the here and now, not the then and when. They want the cash in hand. Another prime example would be like a building maintenance worker that is currently, he looked into it to go to the Queensbury Town Water, and that pays $9,000 more a year, which is the same exact description for the town of Queensbury. Just to give you an example of what's out there for the people, and that's where they're going. They're just taking it and they're going for the money that they can get now at this point in time.
Well, maybe this is something that we can look into then.
The mechanism to do that is doing it through the union. It's got to be done through the union, because the problem is not it's an improper practice for management to do it on their own. And the reason is because you have other titles that are part of the bargaining unit that are not getting done. So it needs to be done with the union.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
yes. Supervisor Wild.
It's a question for Ryan or whoever else. I recognize that we have a requirement to work with the union on this. Can we do something like retention incentive pay that might be easier than a full salary move? So if you stick around for 6 months, you get this, and a year you get that, and 2 years you get a little bit more, and maybe work it that way for these lower wage employees.
We would have to look at that from a legal perspective, have the county attorney and HR look at how to construct something like that, and whether you have to work that through the union or not, because which titles are you going to offer it to? That's the other thing.
Well, to me, and Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, to me, the basic wage for people now are in the $15 an hour for even fast food restaurants and the like. So we're well below the market rate, I believe, today. So my sense is we need to take action, and it's really based on what the market is doing. It's not our decision, but it's the general market that we have for enticing employees. So it costs us more to go out and get a new employee, go through the training and lose them than to retain one. So let's, I think we should try to put this as a priority.
I think what we're talking about really is wage compression. When the minimum wage goes up, everything else has to keep pace. So if you're going to adjust, again, it has to be done holistically, because these are all union titles, and you have to. What's going to happen is you adjust salaries at the bottom. You got to adjust salaries all the way up. Otherwise, you're going to have supervisors not making as much as the people that they supervise. So you're talking about a change to the entire salary scale. So,
Just one more comment. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It may be a bad thing in terms of what our budget officer may think, but we still have people that we need to provide at least a living wage with. And my sense, based on some of the experience I have, $15 an hour doesn't cut it. We had a good discussion yesterday from Jim Siplon talking about the housing market. You can't even afford some of the cheapest homes that are available in the county based on that wage. So I know that it's important for us to be prudent with the public's money, but at the same time, we still need to be competitive, and we still need to be able to provide some type of living wage for this group of employees that we have. So it'll be a challenge for our budget officer. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
what I'm trying to say is it's not about the budget officer, sure, is a player in this, but what we're talking about is reopening the union contract. If we're going down this road, we just got to a deal with CSEA. It's good through. I'm trying to pull up my sheet so I can give you the exact end date on it. Just bear with me just a second here. Here we go. The CSEA contract goes through 2023. What we're talking about is reopening the contract and renegotiating the contract.
All right, well,
As I said, right, we're, Supervisor Stroud to my left and his team are hurting all our employees.
Well,
I'm not sure it's a bad thing because I'm a Queensbury resident, but we need to think about the big picture here in terms of what's happening, and maybe we do need to reopen that contract. And basic wage increase, and we get something else in return.
well, we can put this on for discussion. I want to keep things moving today. There's nothing we can do today, but I think our administrators kind of explain, and maybe we can look at some other different incentives to attract cleaners that we can do this legally without the union. So, but I know Supervisor Garrity has something to say.
Yeah, my only point I was going to make is we do build longevity into some of these contracts for people who are here. So there's longevity built into some of the union contracts. And I will err on the side of the county administrator. dynamics are changing out there. I understood that. And there is an opportunity for the unions to come to us if they want to see some of these rates change. You know, we have a procedure in place, and we haven't heard anything from them. I don't believe about doing that. And so we have to be careful. And I believe, you know, we have to follow the rules, and we have to listen to what our counterparts in the unions want also. So, but there are procedures. If they wanted to address it, they could certainly address it with us. And as I said, you know, there is excuse me, there's longevity built into some of these steps for people who have been here X number of years. They do get a longevity pay increase on certain steps. That's correct, right?
Right. We did, for 2020, we put a 2.9% increase on everything in the union contract, all the salaries in the union contract. And then we put another 2.65% on it in 2021. So that's a combined total of, I think it's between 5 and 6%. I used to be able to tell you exactly. Yeah, the 5.5% raise we just did on the union contract. And then going into 2022, there's an additional 2.6 on it. And going into 2023, an additional 2.5 on it.
All right. Well, not that I want to say there's nothing we can do about this today, but Supervisor Bruno.
Yeah, just a quick question for my education. We experienced this basically with one or two positions, or is it across the board? In other words, we don't see turnover with a lot of the other positions, is that correct?
If you're looking, I can only speak to my department, which, I mean, it's the cleaners seem to be a good chunk of them that are the turnover, and then just the lower rated.
I'm just curious. So, Administrator Moore, do you have any?
On turnover?
Yeah.
The turnover this year is roughly the same as this time last year. It's about 50 people so far since the beginning of the year. This is resignations, retirements, and terminations. Adds up to about 50, both right now and the same time last year.
Very good, thank you.
All right, Supervisor Hajo. Superintendent Hajo.
Supervisor, no. I just wanted to respond to Supervisor Bruno. And I mean, Ryan gave you the breakdown of numbers, but it's throughout my department. You know, it's cleaners, building maintenance worker going to a school because they're making more money. My motor equipment operators, whether they're light, medium, heavies, if they can go to a town, so I've gone to Washington County. I just had, you know, even a parts guy leave and go to Washington County to work as a shop manager over there. So it's all across the department. It's not one in particular. You know, the unique thing about the cleaners is most of the cleaners that I have at night usually have, you know, children, and they're home, you know, they can be home during the day. And when their husband gets home at night, then they can go into work. But again, you know, at 13 and change an hour, it's just not a lot of money. And I think there's, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a shift differential. I just don't know what that is. So it may be a little bit more. But again, that's, you know, they do it for the convenience. But, you know, if something else better comes along, they typically jump on it and go.
Yes, I can. There is a 5% shift differential for second shift. So
Yes.
it takes them to approximately $14.63 an hour.
Yep.
I do have those exact figures here. So from the 2019 salaries to where all of the union positions are today, it's a 5.6% increase that just went into effect July 1st. Next year is 8.4%, and the following year is 11.1% raise. That's already in these union contracts. That's again off of the 2019 wages. And that's separate and apart from longevity increments that we have built in. If you stay certain employment milestones, you get additional money on top. We're just talking about the cost of living adjustments. And then in addition to that, there's longevity increments.
Well, that's encouraging to hear that we got some good numbers coming up ahead of us. And All right, let's, something that we'll just keep online. I didn't really mean to open up a big discussion on it, but I just happened to notice that it always has to be cleaned. I want to keep moving here so we don't run too far behind today. So do we vote on building maintenance worker number 2? No. So can I call a vote for to fill the position for building maintenance worker number 2?
In favor? Aye.
All in favor, sorry. Yeah. All right, aye. Okay, so it moves. All right, court update.
Court update, they should be moving all of their gear out this Friday, beginning the process. Should be completed and out of here by hopefully by next Wednesday, where everything will be taken care of and out the door.
And how many more phases do we have after this?
None that I,
Really, this is kind of the last phase, except for if we do something out in the front of the county center. But again, that's in one of our referral pending items. I spoke about this the last committee meeting where Jim Lieberman and Soil and Water has got some green infrastructure type of funding that we may not have to use any of the bonded money for out front, but we won't have that answer from them for that funding until December. But that would be kind of the last piece of the puzzle.
Well, so this is sure encouraging to hear that our new court building should be on a wrap up, except for the out fronts, which we're working out and looking for the different grants. So that's very encouraging. So thank you very much. How's the work order request program for the fleet vehicles?
I'll let Scott touch on how many work orders we're up to right now. But one of the things that I had kind of tasked Scott with when he came on board was to, work with IT and come up with, we have the work request program that's been working really well, but another way for individuals in the county when they request a fleet vehicle to use, it typically was written down on a piece of paper, put in someone's mailbox and said, hey, make sure you get the car ready for tomorrow. So Scott worked with IT and they've now incorporated that into the work request program. And so kudos to you, Scott, for doing that. But they've now anybody who requests a car, they can go right through the request program and request a car to use, and it'll be all ready the next morning or whenever they have it scheduled for. So Scott, thank you.
thank you. Just to add a little bit of that, we also incorporated Jeremy and myself in there that it'll pop up when the car needs service, whether it's an inspection, an oil change, anything along those lines. But it is a simple process that we're going to initiate probably the beginning of September. Right now it's in its beta stage where it's just myself, Lee, Jeremy that can reserve a car, Kevin as well, just to see. But it's a simple process. It's probably easier than the actual work order request, but it'll also let a person know if there's no vehicles left to reserve. That'll prompt them to give me a call and we'll find them a car somewhere along the lines. But it's the simple process that we just designed for that.
Well, I want to thank you for really extending yourself out and coming up with this program. How many fleet vehicles do we have?
I have 13 that I'm in control of buildings and grounds. And I think once we get this process going for myself, it could be something that could go to possibly public health or Department of Social Services just to see, so they can keep track of their vehicles and everything.
There were about 70 in total.
70 in total?
There.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, do you do all the oil changes and that for all the vehicles or just,
No, we take care of them all.
geez? We'll have to get a New York State registration sign out there, right? An inspection sign and
That's up,
maybe
that's up in Warrensburg.
all right, it's up in Warrensburg. All right. Okay, so as we move along, referral and pending items.
Chairman,
Yes.
can I just say, I'm going to make my 2 cents in it. Thank you for recognizing me about going to
Who is this? No. Go ahead.
going to a completely green fleet or using our EV charging stations out front for our county fleet vehicles. I know that won't work for all of them, but I'd like us to keep that in mind. Thanks.
Oh, my gosh. Claudia, thank you very much. Now all the hands are up. Geez, everybody just calm down. We'll get to you one at a time. Yes, Kevin.
I just real quick, and I'm going to bring it back for probably next month's committee meeting. Claudia, I'm out in Rochester for the summer conference, and they did a big presentation on where green infrastructure and fleet cars and fleet buses and fleet trucks is going in the next 20 years. So I have a lot of information that I'll bring back to the committee next month.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, this just came to my attention, that actually, we're exactly 48 to 48 compared to,
June 31st this year compared to July 31st last year. So we'll get the new numbers at the Personnel Committee meeting next week.
that's for the
That's the
retirees and,
update on retirements. It's the separations. It's retirements, resignations, and terminations.
all right. Okay, any other questions before we move on to referrals and pending items? All right, Kevin, do you want to bring up?
Yeah, I can run through them real quick. So the first one, of course, is the front entrance. And again, we'll be waiting till December to hear if Soil and Water was able to obtain that grant. So that's all for that one. The second one is the update, and I'm actually, Clark Patterson here is out in Rochester. They have just about wrapped up their estimates for what we discussed for the court building. So I was hoping to have it for this month. But again, as I said last month, I wanted a very detailed report that I could provide to all of you. So Matt Smolin from Clark Patterson assured me that we would have it for next month's committee. And then the last item we have on there is the ongoing discussions regarding the Joseph Warren Center. We have the report back now from Atlantic Testing. There is some lead-based paint. Now we'll just have to determine what and where they're going to work within that building and what work they're going to do, where we would have to do any mitigation. So, but I have a full report that I'll bring to the next committee or the meeting with the Historical Society on the facility.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
Mhm.
Privilege of the floor. The Don Lehman, do we have anybody that?
Good morning, Chairman McGowan. We do not have any public comment on YouTube.
All right, well, thank you very much. So, Scott, I think we're to the end, so we're cutting you close. I'm sorry, but you have a spectacular day, and thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, let's move right over to, well, that's not mine. That's not mine. All right, we're gonna go right over to,
Airport.
yeah, where is it?
Here, use mine.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I got it. Jeez. It was just it was so big. I lost it with all my papers there. Airport agenda. We have Robin with us, so let's start right off with the action agenda for new businesses, a request to fund the airport contracts with the airport reserve to cover the cost of pavement marking.
So I'll touch on this real quick. This was again that Robin had let the committee know in that last meeting that FAA came out and did an inspection. They wanted us to update some of our pavement markings out there. So this is the cost to fund, or basically this is the money that we needed to fund some of that pavement cost. We had a estimate from Highlight Pavement Markings, who typically does a lot of airports, and that's exactly what it is the $15,000 that we're moving. 15 and change.
Now, this is above and beyond the runway and that, right? These are like markings around.
These are the taxiway holding positions. So just as soon as you reach the runway, as well as the taxiway in front the terminal building, so the apron, general aviation apron, and so on.
All right, so it's just an extension on to what we need to keep up with our certificate, correct?
That is absolutely correct. So we have to refresh our markings every year due to winter operations. Usually degrade the markings at the airport. So we are required to make sure they are still compliant with the FAA requirements.
All right, so open it up to, for resolution. Request to fund the airport contract.
I'll make the motion.
We have Supervisor Wild and Supervisor Stroud. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We have some discussion items. How are we coming along? I've seen it's amazing how quick that metal can go up. It's looking good over there, but our RE building update.
And I'm passing around the pictures now. We have made some significant progress on the building. We've erected the walls since last time, as we started work on our mezzanine floor as well. So we still have our substantial completion date of November 11th, and we're still aiming to meet that deadline as of right now. So I'm pleased with the progress that we're currently making on the project.
Yeah, as we waited so long, and then all of a sudden it just fired up, and you just drive by, you happen to drive by, and it's like, wow, it is moving along great. Thank you. Supervisor Leggett?
Yeah, could you just remind us how much that building's costing?
That's a good question.
Question. Kevin, you want to, he stepped away for a moment.
No, I don't have the number. I apologize, Supervisor Leggett. I don't have the number in front of me. But the bottom line is this was 100% funded by FAA. This is not costing, well, I'm going to say right now it's not costing the county. There's no local match. FAA came out last year with any projects that were going into 2021 because of COVID, because of the pandemic, that they funded this project 100%. Now, with that being said, I'm kind of going to give a forewarning. There's been some delays on this project. When the project was originally bid, and Robin, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when the project was originally bid, there's a kind of a no escalation clause that FAA puts in all their contracts. They don't allow that escalation clause. But as most of you are aware of in your own towns, and have heard me talk about it, or maybe even some of the other department heads talk about it, costs have increased this year significantly for material. And we have a few of the contractors out there that are basically saying, we cannot do this project or finish this project for the funding that we had. So we've been trying to work with FAA, but FAA's taken a pretty hard stance. It said, yeah, there's no escalation. But the bottom line, there could be some county funding going into this. We haven't necessarily worked that out with the contractors yet. We're asking them to provide us all the material that they have for their price increases since the original bid of the project. So Robin and I may be coming back to the committee and we'll brief you. Probably, Robin, what would you think, next month?
Next month should be good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I have any other questions? Yes, Supervisor Gary.
SRE, what's that SRE stand for?
Snow removal equipment bay.
Yeah, snow removal equipment building.
No, thank you. Nice go.
Yes, Supervisor Thomas.
The number 2.6 million sticks in my mind from last year.
Okay, thanks.
I was going to say, I think we had originally budgeted 3, but I didn't think that when we had the bids come in that they were at that level.
Do we have any other questions? Okay. Any update on the Balloon Festival 2021?
What I can tell you is, as most of you are aware, as of now, the Balloon Fest is still on. We've kind of jumped through hoops a little bit because, as most of you are aware, we do our parking passes for out in front of the airport. But we started that well over a couple months ago to sell those parking passes. Robin has reached out to Eventbrite, who's the same company that helped with the parking passes before. And Robin, I'll let you give an update, but as of last Friday, we were already up over 100 parking passes for the airport. The county will also have our parking facility that will be across from the airport on Queensbury Avenue, where we do the daily parking there to allow people to come over and watch the Balloon Fest.
So as of this morning, we've currently sold 108 VIP 3-day parking passes and 1 commercial bus pass up this morning. So that's a third of our current inventory. So we have another 250 or so to go.
Okay, that's encouraging. It's starting to ramp up. Any more on the Balloon Festival? I know I attended along with Kevin and Robin was there for the emergency services that Anne Marie put on. It was really quite informative. We've had the EMS, we had the police department, city, sheriff, fire departments. So it's really a team effort to pull this together for such a busy weekend between the Balloon Festival and the Americade. And we did hear from our Sheriff LaFar yesterday, and he feels we all have a good, he's got a good handle on it and that we're in good shape. So so we're moving along there. So how are we doing on the next AMP contractor, sir?
And before we move on, I just want to mention that the FAA has approved our ground operations plan for the Balloon Fest from the airport perspective.
That's important. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
So to
next
touch
AMP
on, to touch on the next AMP contract, so that we sent it out. They had a couple minor items that they wanted us to kind of look at and change, and Bob can probably talk to them if you'd like. But the bottom line is we've got a signed contract back now, so they'll start paying us the option agreement, which is the $170 per month until they go live. And then once that goes live after construction, I mean, they got to go through all their engineering and design right now. But once they go live, then they'll be paying us the full amount of the contract. As far as incentives or anything like that yet, we don't know. They haven't gotten anything from NYSERDA, and they said most likely late September, October before they would know anything different.
All right, thank you. So is there any more discussion items?
This one.
Okay, we have one more. I believe there was an incident at the airport, a minor one. And thank God no injuries in that. But if Robin like to bring us up,
sure,
on that, it'd be great. Thank you.
Right. I was read the submitted report. On August 21st at 2021 at 5:35 local, I received a call from the FBO stating that the Cessna 210 Centurion single engine aircraft had performed a wheels up or gears up landing on the northern approach end of runway 19. The pilot in command was the only soul on board at the time. He did not report any injury sustained or request or seek any additional medical attention. No emergency services were needed to respond to the event. The Flight Standards District Office, the FSDO, was notified and gave the approval for removal of the disabled aircraft at 7 p.m. local. The FBO organized a crane, and I passed some pictures around to assist the removal of the aircraft. Myself and the airport maintenance personnel personally inspected the runway prior to reopening. We discovered no significant damage, no lights, no signs, no damage to the runway. All fault associated removal of the aircraft was removed prior to reopening the airport at 20:30 local. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Oh, that unfortunate, but fortunate that nobody got hurt. Does anybody have any questions?
I do have a quick. Is it okay? Is it appropriate for this aircraft to be flown by one person? Is that?
Yes, it is.
And the confines of it. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Was this a student or a practice or?
No, this was a certified pilot.
Okay.
He was in possession of all required documents to operate the aircraft at the time.
All right. Okay, so if we have nothing more in discussion items, I'm going to go on to referrals and pending items. It was the census of the committee for Rich Air to begin planning and the construction of. What? You didn't hear about Nexamp? Yeah, nothing. Well, the contract, we have the contract, we're getting paid. The base pay of $170 a month, as they're still trying to get all their permits and everything pulled together, and then we'll do the construction. Is that?
Thanks, that all blended in. I thought there might have been more to it.
Oh, no.
Okay.
All right. Referral and pending items. It is the census of the committee for Rich Air to begin planning and the construction of 3 new 3-bay T hangars at the Warren County Airport and return to the committee with their plans to prepare it. Kevin, have we, I haven't heard anything back yet. Is Robin,
I can speak on that. I spoke to the FBO this morning and he's assured us he may have something for next month's agenda.
okay, so we'll keep that on referrals and pending items. So privilege of the floor. Don, do we have anything on our airport agenda? Okay.
Hi, Chairman McGowan. We do not have anything. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. All right, so I will ask for an adjournment. Oh, wait, just hang up, back up. Yes, Chairwoman Seaver.
Chairman McGowan, I apologize. I walked in a few minutes late. I just wanted to make you aware of a change in time for the dedication for the Lou Tessier Way to accommodate multiple schedules. It will be on September 10th. That is a Friday at 2 p.m. And Robin, thank you for your help with that. And to Kevin Hadros as well. We look forward to that. And I'll work with our public information officer to provide this invitation to the public.
Okay, just to say that again, Friday,
September 10th
September 10th
at 2 p.m.
at 2 p.m. Everybody have that?
Thank you, Chairman.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. We have a quick Supervisor Stroud and Supervisor Wild. I'll call in favor or vote. All in favor?
Favor. Aye.
Opposed? So moved.